Hello, Dr. Joe here of the drjoe.com and the 2020 from.com. So, what have I got here in front of me? Well, I've got brown rice, I've got spaghetti, and I've also got potato here. Now, what do these have in common? Well, of course, they are all carbs. And there are lots of people who tend to fear carbs because of the potential of these foods to spike their blood sugar levels. And on that basis, they tend to run away from carbs. And I feel that is the wrong approach. Avoiding carbs is the wrong approach. Instead, what you should be doing is look for ways of consuming your carbs without having to worry about blood sugar spikes. Now, you're in luck because in today's video, I'm going to show you a little trick that is very simple to implement that you can employ to reduce your blood sugar spikes, cut your blood sugar spikes by 50%. So that's what's coming up in this very video. And the trick is scientifically tested. So it's not something that I just plucked out of thin air. And is the science that I'm going to be sharing with you right now. So we're going to be finding out the best way to eat carbs and avoid blood sugar spikes at the same time. And I have subtitled it, A Tested Trick in Heat Wave. And you see what I mean by that shortly. So we are going to be looking at a study, and this study aimed to answer the question of the relationship between the temperature of foods and your blood sugar. Okay, that's what the study aimed to answer. And in this case, the food in this very study is a high carbohydrate meal. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that now. So what was the study design? Well, it was a randomized crossover trial, and we like that. Okay, we like randomized crossover studies. So those are studies that hold a lot of weight. And what was the study design? Well, the study authors made the study participants to refrain from performing any strenuous physical activity for 2 days prior to commencing the study. And the whole idea was they wanted to remove exercise as a confounder such that exercise does not affect the blood sugar profile of the study participants. So that was the first thing the study authors did. And what kind of food? Well, they used a pasta meal, okay? And 3 different pasta meals eaten in random order, okay? 3 pasta meals eaten in random order. And one of the things the study authors did was that each experimental visit was separated by a minimum of 48 hours. So they gave the study participants 3 different pasta meals, but they made sure that the meals were eaten at least 48 hours apart. Okay, so that was very good. So what were the meals? Well, 3 pasta meals with different temperatures, as it were. So the first one was a hot pasta meal, meaning the pasta had just been prepared and served to the study participants. So that was one type of meal. The second type of meal was a pasta meal that was freshly prepared and placed in the refrigerator overnight to allow it to cool, and it was served cold to the study participants. So that was meal type number 2. And the third meal was a pasta meal that was cooked, left in the refrigerator overnight, and then reheated on the day of the experiment. So those were the 3 pasta meals: hot, cold, and reheated. What else happened in the experiment? Well, one of the things the study authors did was to check the blood sugar of the study participants before each of those meals. So there was a pre-meal blood sugar check, and then subsequently after each of those meals, the hot, the cold, and the reheated pasta, the study participants' blood sugar levels were checked every 15 minutes after each of those meals for 2 hours. Okay, for 2 hours, to see how their blood sugar was going to behave. So what were their results? Well, we're going to be looking at the blood sugar response in the order of the best to the worst performer. Okay, so in this very order. So in first place, the pasta meal that had the best blood sugar response was, we need a drum roll for this,
reheated pasta. Okay, so the reheated pasta performed the best amongst the three different types of meals. And in second place was the cold pasta. The cold pasta performed next best. And of course, the hot pasta was the worst performer in terms of blood sugar behavior in the study participants. So what this is telling us is that you get a quicker return to fasting blood sugar levels in both the reheated carbohydrate meal and the cooled carbohydrate meal than the hot carbohydrate meal. So reheated is first, second is the cooled one, and then the hot is the worst performer. And this is the study. It was published in Foods Journal with the title Method of Food Preparation Influences Blood Glucose Response to a High Carbohydrate Meal, a randomized crossover trial. This was the study telling us about how the temperature of the food, of the carbohydrate food that you consume, affects your blood sugar response.
So essentially what's going on there is that when you prepare your carbohydrate food in that very manner, that is to say you cook it, you let it cool down completely, and then you reheat it, what's going on is that you are changing the molecular structure of the starch of that very carbohydrate food. So the deeper food chemistry action that is going on there is that you are increasing the resistant starch content of that carbohydrate food. And having a lot of resistant starch in any particular carbohydrate food is a very good thing to do, because resistant starch is indigestible. It's not food for you, it is food for your gut-friendly bacteria. Resistant starch is a prebiotic that your gut-friendly bacteria will love, and it doesn't add any calorie content to that very meal. Now, I'm going to do a special video on resistant starch in future, but for now, suffice it to know that the more resistant starch you have in any carbohydrate food, the better your blood sugar response is going to be to that very food when you eat it. The better the insulin response is going to be as well. You're going to have lower insulin response to that very food. And it's even good for weight management. So improving the resistant starch content of any carbohydrate food is a good thing to do. That's how you can consume foods like this potato, this rice, as well as this spaghetti, and not have to worry about blood sugar spikes. You cut your blood sugar response to all of these foods by at least 50% when you do that, okay? And the beauty of this very tip that I'm sharing with all of you here today is that you've got two options. If you're someone who likes your food cold, then of course cook the carbohydrate meal, let it cool down, eat it cold is the next best way of doing it. Or if you're somebody who likes to have your meal hot, then of course reheat it and then eat it. Then you have even better blood sugar response. So the point of the matter is that you have the two options to play with. Reheating is the first, and then eating it cold is the next best thing. So what's not to like? So hopefully you got some value from this very video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please like the video, and also please share this video with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. They all eat carbs, so you might as well share this very tip with all of them. If you have any questions, any comments regarding what I've just talked about in this very video, go ahead, leave your comments down below. I think that's about it. Until next time, well, this is Dr. Joe signing out.